that my teachers didn't tell me. So yeah. So the outline of today's class is going to be a little bit overview about me, and I'm going to talk about why I chose to learn English and my English journey and the methods that I was applying to learn English and how that affect how my English skill affects that when I was living abroad. And also I will be doing a group activity and I will have a Q&A session. Okay, so a little bit about me. My name is Hana, and I'm currently a student at Yale-NUS College in Singapore. Prior to coming to Yale-NUS, I was also a student at SMN 47 Jakarta, and I also went to high school in Canada called Pearson College UWC. My interest includes paddling. I also like to sing. I like to play piano and play drums. I also make films, and I like to bake. So, yay. Okay, I'm gonna start talking about my English journey. So why did you learn English in the first place? At first, I didn't really have a goal on why I want to learn English because everyone else at school just learns it as well. But as I dive into the internet, every time I was trying to find a reading resource or an answer to my homework, I always find resources in English. So I realized that English is a very, very important language to learn since it's the international language for people around the world to communicate, interact, and share ideas. Also, I feel like at this point in our time, English is a really means of survival. I mean, we can barely survive nowadays in any field without being able to speak English. For example, when you got into a public or private university in Indonesia, you need to do a TOEFL test, or when you apply for a job, chances are you're gonna see that the main qualification is fluency in English. So in today's world, I don't think you can get away without learning English. And I also wanna communicate with Jaksel kids. Kidding. Anyway, so yeah, so this is my English journey. Before I dive into my methods, I'm gonna talk a little bit about the background on what I did before applying those. So prior to going abroad, I've always gone to a public schools in Jakarta, and I never experienced the glory of great education through private schools in the country. And as many of you probably already knew, the English curriculum in public schools is really, really bad. I think through my 6 years in elementary school, I only learned some basic vocabularies like apple, table, lamp, etc. And I could only say, hello, how are you? I'm fine, thank you. So that's quite bad. So because of this, I wanted to learn English beyond the curriculum from my school, and I ended up taking additional English courses outside school in several institutions. So first I went to PEC, and then I went to LIA, and then I went to I Can Read, and my last stop was ILP, and then I quit. I never tried EF or Wall Street English because it was too expensive for me, but I heard a lot of people talking really, really good about the institution. So yeah. So yeah, by just looking at this diagram, you can see that I'm quite experienced in this English institution world. So now the burning question that people always ask, was it worth it to pay so much money for an English course outside school? I mean, to some extent, yes, but also no. I think it depends on what kind of a learner you are. See the methods that you're using and what learning method works best for you. And it also depends on what you want out of the institution itself. So for me, although these institutions are great, I'm more of a self-learner and an interpersonal learner. I don't really enjoy going to lectures or seminars because I like to read or discover things on my own. So unless I have a burning questions that I really need to ask to my teachers, then I would go to the class. But if not, I wouldn't want to go at all. So this is why taking English courses don't really work efficiently for me. But if you feel like you will be benefiting a lot from these courses and institutions, then go ahead and continue doing what you're doing because everyone learns differently. So what works for me doesn't necessarily work for you as well. So you need to try and experiment the different methods yourself. So yeah, to me, there are 3 main aspects of learning English. There is speaking, reading, and listening. So by taking English courses in these institutions, I naturally want to improve those skills. And from these institutions, I feel like I mainly learn about grammar and pronunciations, and not necessarily significantly improving my reading, speaking, and listening skills. So overall, I do feel that these institutions help me in becoming what I like to call textbook smart rather than street smart. And by textbook smart, I mean that I know the basic stuff. Like I know how to construct a sentence or a phrase. I know basic grammar rules, identifying past, present, future tense, la da da la dee dee. And I also know how to do well in English school exams. But when I read news or novels, I still didn't quite understand the content. And when someone talked to me in English, I went into a complete silence and I didn't know what to respond. And when I watch movies, I always read the subtitles because I didn't quite understand what the actors are saying on screen. So from here, I know that my main goal of learning English is not so much on the grammar stuff, but rather to focus on improving my conversational skill, reading skill, and listening skill, while also expanding my vocabularies and phrases. I'm sure a lot of you have felt like this because I did. Okay. So how did I switch from textbook smart to street smart? What are the methods that work really well for me? For me, the first one is to watch movies or shows or YouTube videos, anything that worked for you really. And this might sound really weird to a lot of people, but watching these shows or movies really helped me to learn new words or phrases that people use in conversational English. And you can watch any shows or movies that work well for you. And I know that a lot of people watch Harry Potter, but it doesn't have to be Harry Potter. For me, understanding British English is harder than American English. So I always watch American shows or movies. And you can even watch the trashiest shows out there, like Keeping Up with the Kardashians. And you can also watch Gossip Girl, The Vampire Diaries, and you will still learn a lot of new words and phrases from these shows. And if you couldn't watch these movies online, you can also watch video interviews of your favorite celebrities on YouTube. Any videos will work well for your learning experience for as long as they are in English. Two things to keep in mind. First one is that you don't forget to put subtitles in your movie watching or YouTube watching or whatever, because you're still learning the language. So every time you heard a word that you don't know the meaning of, you can immediately see what word it is in the subtitles. So you don't have to like rewind to see, oh, what were they saying? Yeah. And every time you learn new words or phrases, you have to immediately find out the meaning of that words or phrases on Google. And then you take notes in a little book so that you would remember what you learned for that day. So basically, like, that little book looks like this to me. So yeah, every time I learn a new word, I'll just find out on Google and I'll just write it down here and I will learn a lot of new stuff in the day. So watching movies will improve your listening and also your reading skills. Okay, and then the second method that works for a lot of people, not really me, is reading books or news. So reading books would really improve the range of your vocabulary and phrases, and this will take some time to master, depending on whether you like to read or not. I personally didn't like to read, even when the books are in Indonesian, so it was very hard for me to do this method, but I forced myself to do it anyway because I know it's necessary if I want to be comfortable with English. And start small. You don't have to start with Romeo and Juliet or Great Gatsby, 1984 or something. Just choose books that are quite light to read. You can start by reading children's books like The Little Prince. You can also start reading books that have light vocabularies, and there are lots of them on Wattpad. These books don't have heavy words, and oftentimes they're very trashy, but it will make you get used to English readings. And if you don't like reading books, you can also try to read news in English, like CNN or BBC. But I would suggest reading the Jakarta Post, since the topics in there are all about Jakarta or Indonesia, so that it will be easier for you to grasp. The more relatable a topic is to you, the more you will be engaged in the readings. And if you don't like reading books or news, the last option that I would recommend is by reading English tweets on Twitter. As you can see from my screenshot here, the moment I open my Twitter, it's all in English. A lot of Indonesians are tweeting in English, and this is really good for you to just get used to reading English materials every day, even though it's just 280 words maximum due to the Twitter's word limit. And if you want more English content on your timeline, I would suggest following these people that I listed here. or any Western public figures that you want to follow. So yeah, by reading these things, it will improve your reading skills. Then also the last one is to practice your English. If you learn a new language or any language, you would want to be able to communicate with people. And this is why practicing your speaking skill is very important. And there are several ways you can do this. For me, I do a monologue, and this sounds weird, but I did it anyway. So what I did with a monologue is that I talk to myself in English before I go to bed. And I did that since 2017 or 16, I'm not sure. But yeah, you can do this every day, twice a week or once a week. It's all up to you. And when you did this, you can talk about how your day was, what went well in that day, what didn't go so well in that day. And it's like you're writing a diary, but instead of writing it, you talk about it. And sometimes my mom found me when I was doing this, and she was so confused. She thought I'm crazy, but it's fine. Oh well. And then you can also talk to yourself and brain spit your ideas and thoughts after you watch or read something. Oftentimes when you finish watching or reading something, you have your reaction or personal opinion from whatever it is that you watched or read. For example, I was reading Tocqueville's Democracy in America yesterday, and he's an advocate for gender equality, but he thinks that women shouldn't work the same job as men, which kind of beats the whole purpose of equality. So when I had these thoughts, I was just frustrated, and I was just talking to myself before I went to bed. And not only this helps to improve my speaking skill, it also improves my thought process and argumentation skills. And if you're too shy to do a monologue, or if it's too much, you can also find people to practice your English with. And I got it. You want to practice your English, but you're scared that people will judge you and they will say, so English lo, annoying. But to aid this, you really need to find a community where you can safely and freely practice your English without feeling afraid of being judged. And I feel like Britzone really provides this platform for you. So you really need to utilize this to the best of your ability. And once you found a community, I would suggest to create a set of rules. I mean, this depends on you, but it's very important that everyone is on the same ground on what they want and what they don't want out of the community. So for example, the rules can be something like no judgment. Two can be gentle and be mindful of your expressions when someone mispronounced something or having grammatical errors. I'm not a great advocate for the third rule, but if you want to have someone to fix your grammar, then be a gentle grammar Nazi. But again, this is only if people around you ask you to do that. Okay, suppose that you are a gentle grammar Nazi. And for example, someone said something like, where do you go to yesterday? Which is grammatically incorrect. What would you say to them? Does anyone want to say something? If not, I can continue.
Anyone would like to try? Come on, guys. You
can I try?
Yeah.
Okay.
Maybe I could just say, oh, I went to the movie yesterday.
Okay, that could work too.
Yeah. I went to the movie yesterday.
Yeah.
Where did you?
I would like to try. May I?
Yeah.
Oh, sorry, Diki Chandra already raised hand. Dan, Diki Chandra already raised hand.
All right. Okay, so allow me to answer this. When my friend asked me with a wrong grammar like this, where did you go yesterday? I will repeat the question. Oh, where did I go yesterday? I went to and mention the place.
Yeah.
That's what I usually do.
Okay, that's a good one. Okay.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you, Thomas, and thank you, Keynes. Yeah, that's a good input, yeah, for replying our friends that probably they didn't intentionally do the grammatical incorrect, but they just somehow, mistaken. Okay, go on.
So both questions are correct. You can just let it go, but you can also repeat the question naturally and say something like, hey, where did I go yesterday? Let's see, something like that. So this way you wouldn't come across annoying to the other person. And if the other person makes way too many grammar mistakes, then it depends on what the other person wants from the community, but I wouldn't bother to fix their grammar too much, because the main goal of this is to increase their confidence in speaking English. And if I were intervene way too much and too many times, it beats the whole purpose of them becoming more confident. So yeah. Okay, there are some important notes to practicing your English speaking skill. The first one is to ask questions if you don't know something or if you don't know a meaning of a word. Even after 3 years of living abroad, I still do this until today. Every time I was talking to my friends and they start spitting words that I don't know, I'll always ask. And it will be very awkward for me to continue having a conversation with someone if I don't know the meaning of the word they said. For example, my friend the other day, just happened yesterday, she said, "Oh, my cereal is very stale." And if you don't know what stale means, you don't know what to respond to her. So truly, being scared to ask questions is what's gonna prevent you from moving forward. And the second one is to ask for clarification. If your friend said something that you're not sure of, then ask for a clarification question. For example, my friend talked about her summer in Cape Town, but I didn't quite hear it. So I asked, "Did you say Cape Town?" Because if you didn't clarify, if you didn't ask questions, then the next hour she's gonna talk about Cape Town and you don't know what she's talking about. So yeah. And also the third one is to use new words or phrases that you learn. I was talking about the little book that I have right here. So don't just write them down, because that's kind of useless. Then what's the point of writing it down? But also practice it. Maybe the next day you met your friend, you just learn about the word bane. Then you just use the word bane in some conversation whenever you had the chance to. Yeah. And the fourth one is that confidence is key. And I can't emphasize this enough. Being scared or shy to embrace your skills is gonna prevent you from moving forward. Don't be scared to make mistakes. Make as many mistakes as you can. For example, in the beginning, I was so nervous. I made so many mistakes. It was fine. I make mistakes all the time, and no one is gonna judge you. Even the native speakers, they're so supportive. They're not gonna shame you if you make mistakes, because this is your second language. It's an accomplishment. It's amazing. And they will help you and encourage you to do better. And the last one is to embrace your accents, because I know that a lot of people try to hide their accents because they're afraid that people will judge them for their Indonesian accents. Please don't be. No one is going to judge you. And if they do, it's their problem, not yours. Your accent is a reflection of your environment, and you grow up in Indonesia. So embrace your beautiful, natural Indonesian accent. And if anything, your accent is a reflection of your huge accomplishments of being able to speak 2 languages, while many people in this world can only speak 1. So yeah. Okay, this is also one of the questions that I got a lot. How does being abroad help you to improve your English compared to when you were learning it in Indonesia? It significantly improves my English, because by being abroad, you're forced to speak in English. And at a time in my community, no one else speaks Indonesian. There is no other Indonesian. Back in Indo, if you miss the meaning of a word, you can easily switch back to Indo or mix English and Indonesian, or ask your friend for a translation. But if you're the only person who can speak your language in that community, you can ask anybody and you can't easily switch back to your mother tongue. So the fact that you're forced to speak English every day and hearing people speaking English every day really feels like you're doing TOEFL exams constantly, but it also feels like you're gonna improve a lot. Again, it's a means of survival. If I couldn't speak English, then I would fail all of my classes, all of my courses. I wouldn't have had friends at all, and I would be completely screwed. And I can say that if back in Indonesia, my English speaking fluency is about 5%, then I'd say after going abroad, it went right up to 95%. Yeah, you speak English? Yes. What's your name? Yes, sorry, I just found this meme on the internet. It's kind of funny. Okay, just to sum up, the methods that I would do first is to know your goal, identify your goal. And 2 is to identify your learning methods and try the different method that works for you. We can take additional English courses in the different institutions that are available, which are tons. You can watch movies, you can read books or news, you can try to practice your English by doing either a monologue or finding a community like what you already have at Britzone. So yeah, moving on, we're gonna do a group activity. So basically in the group activity, I just want you to do a sharing session between yourselves. For sure, introduce yourself if you haven't already known each other, because I feel like it's important to know each other. And also share about what's your goal of learning English and what methods of learning works best for you so far and what kind of English speaking community do you want. It's like the set of rules kind of thing that I just showed you. And anything you want to talk about, really. So yeah. Thank you so much for listening, by the way.
Thank you, Hana, for your story. It was very insightful and very, I think it's very straightforward and practical, and we can use it, we can easily apply it in our daily life. But I think the thing that I would like to highlight here is that, like you said, that we have been learning English for so many years, but our ability or our fluency is just like stagnant, like on the same level for many years. I mean, like, what do you think is like the most, like what went wrong here? What went wrong? In your opinion?
I think nothing is really wrong because we live in Indonesian speaking society. So you're not forced to like speak English all the time. But I think what went wrong is the fact that oftentimes every time we try to speak English, people try to degrade our confidence. They always say something like also English law or other words that are not nice. So because of that, we're always scared to try to even speak English, and really what it takes to be, more to increase your level of skills is to practice it. So if you don't have the platform to practice, then it's quite hard for you to improve. And if you're not sort of forced, or if you don't have the habit to, read English materials or listen to English interviews or any kinds of movies in English, then it's very hard for you to improve. So I feel like that's the main problem.
Yeah. So we are, I think, as English as a foreign language, because we like as a foreign language, right? It's not my opinion, it's not even our second language, right? Not like, unlike Malaysia probably, that they use English as second language. We are still in Indonesia, English is for foreign language. So we need to we have more homework to practice more, right? Yeah, we have more and more things to work on, especially in our environment. But thank you so much, Hana, for sharing your story.
No
so guys, like Hana said before, we are going to have a chit chat in a smaller group, so you can share your experience. You can also learn from your friends within the group. So we are going to divide it into several groups with a special facilitator to help you manage the group discussion. So we are going to give you probably 20 minutes, 15 to 20 minutes, so you can share your thought in there. And after that, we are going to have Q&A, so you can prepare your questions. Start now. Okay, have fun on your group, guys. See you in the next 20 minutes. Okay, have fun.
Okay, let me open the breakout room ya. Okay.
Am I gonna be in the breakout room or I'm gonna be here?
No, the conductor and MC still on the main room.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So I think for the first 10 minutes, we are going to have a Q&A session because also live on YouTube. So we are going to say hello to our beloved YouTube viewers, yeah. And then I think for the second 10 minutes, you can visit each group to see what happened.
Okay, sure.
Yeah.
Haka, sorry, I was like very.
Yeah.
Sorry. In the beginning, I was a bit scared, but yeah.
No, like you like it's a very comprehensive, practical, simple. Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Have you assigned all the members to the group?
Already assigned.
Okay. So Asrafa and Dila actually already in the
already in group. Dila in Anis group, Arafah in Septian.
Okay. Okay, so I would like to say hello to our beloved YouTube viewers. Thank you so much for joining our class. If you have any question, don't forget to drop your question on the comment. So we would like, and then after that, I would like to I would like to let the conductor to address your question. Pika, have we received any questions?
Not yet.
Yeah, okay. They're still typing, I guess. They're still typing. So Hana, I think to fill up this 10 minutes, I would like to ask you some questions. So like you said before, that to improve our speaking, to improve our English fluency, we can watch the movie or video or anything like that. But I think why? We've been watching probably like Western Hollywood movie for so long, but still, like we are still stuck in this circumstance. Like our speaking skills not improving, our vocab is not improving, our listening is probably the same. What do you think?
I think the main problem is because every time we're watching a movie, we're not really paying attention to the words that we don't know or to the phrases that we just heard of. Because, for example, I was going to a cinema, right? Like Bioskop 21 or whatever. And then, they were talking and then there were some phrases or words that I don't know. And I was just like, let it pass. For as long as I understand the whole point of the movie, then I'm fine. So I think the fact that people don't really pay close attention to those things, and oftentimes, I don't know if you noticed, but I remember before going abroad, every time I watch a movie, because there is subtitles, I always read the subtitles and I never really heard whatever the actors are saying. So I think that's why, because we just rely on the subtitles. We don't really try to hear and try to listen to what they're trying to say. So yeah, those two things are basically why my listening skill and also like speaking skill and vocabulary was quite stagnant at that point. So
yeah, I think I agree with you, because sometimes if we are already knowing the whole point, right? We don't need to understand each word, right?
Yeah.
The thing is, if we know the whole, like the essence of the sentence or the statement, it's okay, right?
Yeah. No, that's true. But I guess a lot of times we just don't really, like, sometimes we don't really even know the context of what they're talking about, and we don't want to find out. So I feel like that's a problem. I feel like the fact that we are being ignorant about what the content of something. So yeah.
And then I think the thing that I would like to point out is that we as a learner, we don't have enough time to practice. That's why I think we still in the passive learner, so we don't actually practice. Like we don't allocate more time to practice. I think that's why we still in the in the same situation like we were 10 years ago, right? You think, what is the good balance in here? The proportions of practicing and learning. What do you think the proportions are? Yeah.
I feel like anytime you're sort of like watching a movie, like subconsciously you're listening, you're practicing your listening skills. And whenever you're on Twitter, like what I said, and every time people were tweeting in English, you're subconsciously reading something in English. So that also counts as a practice and learning, sorry. But I think for the practice one, by practicing, do you mean by like speaking?
Probably yeah, probably speaking and then writing as well, because I think as Indonesian, the least aspect that we and the thing that we need to work on mostly is in the writing, right? I mean,
Yeah.
I don't know, like we feel like that's the thing, because in writing we have to know about the vocabulary, the context, the grammar, the tenses and everything. Yeah.
No, I agree. I agree. I feel like
In general.
in terms of speaking, I feel like people can just practice every day with the monologue that I was talking about, because I did that since 2017 or 16, and I did that pretty much every day. So like what I said already in the presentation, that before I went to bed, I was just reflect on my day with English. So that's how I practice my speaking skill. But in terms of writing skills, that I found that hard too. So I feel like I forgot to mention this. So by enrolling in these courses, English courses, institutions or whatever, I learned I feel like I learned a lot in terms of writing, because it's so grammar heavy, and because of that, naturally we would improve our writing skills and stuff. So yeah, I still couldn't find like the efficient method for writing it. I'm still figuring it out. And yeah, the reason why I'm writing in English right now, it's because
you have to.
So,
you have no other options, right?
I
Like
don't
you
have
have
other. Yeah, so I'm still trying to find that as well, and see what methods would work if you're just living in Indonesia and trying to learn writing. So, yeah.
Oh yeah, Hana. By the way, when you plan to study in Canada, what is it required? IELTS or TOEFL?
Oh, it was TOEFL, but actually, even if you didn't take TOEFL, it's fine as well. I think it depends on like each institutions, because at the time I was applying to UWC, and for UWC, they don't really require TOEFL fluency, because for as long as you're confident and you're willing to learn, you don't really have to have any qualification. You know, like you will come to an interview for sure, and they will see whether you're confident enough to be able to speak in English, but you don't have to have a certain qualification by any means. But again, it depends on every institutions. But for UWC, you don't really need to have TOEFL, but if you do, then that's fine. So.
Yeah, and I think back to the writing. Yeah, I think because especially if we are planning to taking the master degree, Indonesian taking master degree abroad, is that we are used to the Indonesian structure writing style, and then switch in English with different different structure, different rules and everything. So it's kind of hard. And even if we, like me, I'm still struggling to write a proper Indonesian writing, let alone writing in English. It's gonna be like, I don't know how to, how to start that. And then especially in the academic aspect, is like it's gonna be a lot more harder.
Yeah. Okay. Sorry. When I did this, that means I agree with you. Sorry.
Yeah, that's okay. That's okay, because I think because I think writing is like in me personally, and I think I could say this for like general of Indonesian people, that writing is the number one enemy that we need to really fight for, right? To have like improvement.
Okay, I feel like I was just thinking about it, because I was talking about speaking and having a monologue to yourself. I remember what I did was I was writing a blog in English before coming to Canada. So write a diary about your day, but in English. But what I would suggest is to have a Grammarly. Do you know Grammarly?
Yeah. It's always coming up on like YouTube ads for example. Yeah.
So I use Grammarly. So for example, in Google Docs, I just put the Grammarly extension or something. I just click that. And then every time I have a diary entry, I was just writing it there. And then if I made like grammar mistakes and stuff, it will just like show me what grammar mistakes did I do. So so I would suggest Grammarly. Yeah.
So it's a good tool to help us review, right? Review writing. Yeah, it's good.
Oh yeah, sorry, Hana, do you want to visit the breakout room? Maybe to
to see
yeah,
what's happening
yeah,
behind.
to see what's happening
Yeah,
over
sure,
there.
sure, sure.
Yeah.
Obviously.
Okay.
So you can give her a tour. Me too, because I'm like, all right, yeah. No, let me let
Yeah.
me stay in the main room.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Okay, I introduce to Desrina first.
How many groups do we have?
6.
6, yeah. It's gonna be
Okay,
a tour.
I already invite you, Hana. I already ask you, Hana.
Hannah, and are you still there?
Connection problem.
I think, but I think it's, yeah.
Okay, okay, okay. Okay, dadah Dani.
Okay, bye Dika. Have fun. So hi guys, if you have any questions that would you like to address our conductor, you can drop your question on the comment, and she would address later on in the Q&A session. So let me summarize some of the material that she has already delivered. So basically, if you would like to improve your English, we can do it in a very fun way. Like she mentioned before, we can watch movies, or we can watch the interview, or we can watch the drama series or something that actually help us to be exposed more to the English material, so we would get used to it in the long run. And then secondly, she also mentions about the reading stuff. So we have to spend more time in the reading, and then especially in the English material. For example, we can read from different sources. For example, from the newspaper, or from the tabloids, or even the Twitter. Make sure that we get used to the English material writing, for example, the things that I have mentioned before. And then another thing that she mentioned is that we also need to practice more our English through different kind of activities. For example, doing monologue is actually a good way to help us not only to improve our speaking fluency, but also shape us to have more critical thinking about something. So we will have the sense of how to create an argument in English, how to create a sentence in English, how to create an ideas in English related to the certain topic. So that's actually a very insightful way to improve our English, especially if you want to improve your speaking skill. And then what else? And then again, we can find other supportive environment. For example, our friends that have the same visions. For example, you have friends that would like to take any IELTS or any other English test. You can have a commitment or learning schedule together, so you two can have the same vision. So I think with the same vision, we can have a more commitment to it, and we would have more energy to do it more consistently. And then the other thing that she mentioned in her material is that never mind about the judgment of people, because I think in our surrounding, especially in Indonesia, we sometimes receive any like bad judgment, or people have a negative thought about our things, especially in English. Like, what would you learn English for? Like, what would you speak in English? Or why you write your caption in English? Like your caption, I mean, your writing is sucks. Your writing is not good. You have a lot of mistakes, like grammatically in your writing. But why would you even post that writing in your social media? And she mentioned that it's okay. It's okay to have to uh, to have a judgment. I mean, to get a judgment from people, because we actually learner. It's actually their problem. Like this, like she says, it's actually their problem. It's not ours. So we just need to keep going. We need to keep learning and learning. Okay, I would like to remind you guys, if you have any questions, don't forget to drop your question on the comment section, and I would like to, and then after that, I would like to ask her on the Q&A session.
Being scared.
Danny,
Hi, Dick.
what time will we end the FGD session?
I think like 2 minutes more. I think it's enough. We
Okay,
can
okay.
do the main session, because I think I'm afraid if there will be quite a lot of questions on the Q&A, we can spare more time for the Q&A.
Okay. Oke, berarti 7:52 ya?
Yeah,
Oke,
7:52.
oke, oke. Oke.
I was talking, guys, and then you dragged me here.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah,
I'm in the middle
me
of the presentation.
too.
Doesn't matter.
It's not enough. Give us more time, please.
We have more time.
We're in the middle of discussion actually.
Yeah.
Yes. Unfortunately,
Alright.
we just have limited time, so
But actually, it's not enough time to discuss.
yeah, I know that, and we are very sorry. We deeply
But
sorry.
if you want to speak English fluently, you have the discussion one day for 1 day.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, you can find your partner, for example, your friends, or
We need more time.
We need more time. Give my money back, man.
We need more time.
Give me my money
bro.
back.
To discuss
You're not
anything.
paying for this.
Give my money back.
Let's make another class after this class ends.
Yeah.
Together in cash, right?
Tra will be the host then.
No.
That's why. That's why you need to keep coming back to Britzone session. Okay?
Yeah.
No one
Coming back
because
can't get enough. I
like
can't get
yeah.
enough.
Yeah, like you cannot take the last session back, so you better stay tuned and keep coming back.
Yeah, good thing is, guys, that we have a good time here. We had good time here, so that's why it's like time flies. We didn't know.
Okay.
All right.
So let me check. Is anyone already in the main room? Has anyone?
We're here.
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, we.
Okay.
Probably we can ask the host, Dika. Dika.
Yeah, sorry.
Has
Everyone already
anyone-
in the main room?
Yeah.
I
Or we
think
still
already.
waiting for some?
Already.
Already,
Already,
okay.
yeah.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
so yeah, guys, we are. Yeah, I know you need more time to practice more, right? To speak more, to share more, anything more. But yeah, due to have limited time, we are sorry to cut your discussion off. Okay, so for the next session is about Q&A. So if you have any things to say that you would like to ask our conductor, feel free. Raise your hand or give some sign so we can see you, or you can just drop your question on chat box. Feel free.
Oh yes, if you want to ask, please, one person, one question, yes, because we have so limited time, and there are a lot of people here.
Okay, so go ahead. Time is yours. If
Yeah, I have the question. Can I ask the question?
Okay.
Yeah, go ahead, Thomas.
I would like to ask to Hana regarding your English fluency compared with the other in this meeting, right? So,
Sorry?
I mean, how you can become your English fluency like the foreigner? What is your motivation? Because I asked to my children to speak English, but he's rather than speak English, she play the games. How to guide them to become a good person to speak English?
You mean my accent?
Yeah, I mean, what your tip and motivation?
Oh, I think it's because for me,
Your parent,
sorry?
from your parent to ask you to speak English?
No. My parents can't speak English, by the way. They can't speak English at all. It was just from me because, like what I said, every time I was doing homework or I was looking at resources, it's always like in English. So I feel like it's very necessary for me to learn the language. But it's also because I've always had a dream to go to a school abroad. So that's why that's what drives me the most to wanting to learn English. Yeah, as for the accent, I don't know why I have this accent. I wasn't trying to make this. It just came out naturally. I think the fact that I live abroad for about 3 years now kind of influences that. I think if I lived in Indonesia until today, I don't think I will have this accent.
Oh, you are live in abroad for 4 years?
For 3 years now.
Okay, sorry. One person, one question, yeah. Thomas, enough.
Okay, thank you.
No worries.
Thank you, Mr. Thomas, for your question. Mr. Judy Harlina for your question. Yeah. For the next question, anyone would like to ask?
May I try?
Yeah, go ahead.
Hi, Hannah. You didn't mention before for the writing, so I think would you like to give us some your experience, how to improve your writing skills?
Yeah.
You didn't
We
mention
just discussed, yeah. We just
I know.
Also,
We
I kind of
just
have
discussed
like
it in the
you had
guys,
love
I'm
relationship
sorry.
with the writing skills, So I would like to ask from you.
Yeah, no, it's fine. Yeah, we actually discussed about that while you guys in the group breakout rooms. The reason why I forgot to mention that as well is because I wasn't really sure like what's the most efficient way, because I was also still struggling when I was in Indonesia. But one method that works really well for me is to write a diary about how your day went. I remember I had a blog before I went abroad. So in that blog, I was just talking about the list of things that I did for that day and what went well, what didn't go so well. So it's basically the same with the speaking practice monologue, but it's just written. And if you want to know whether your grammar is correct or not, whether your sentences are correct or not, I would suggest to go on Grammarly. You can just go to Google Docs, and then there is an extension to Grammarly. Just click the Grammarly, and Grammarly will kind of see what mistakes you made. So maybe this isn't the correct grammar or whatever it is that you made mistakes, and it will tell you. So that's how I try to see, okay, I made mistakes here. So yeah, that's how I practice before going abroad. But now it's kind of like I'm forced to do it because I have to write
Any
journal
assignments in
papers.
English.
Yeah, so I have to do that. So yeah.
Thank you, Hannah.
No worries.
Okay. Come on, guys. This is a very great opportunity for you to ask directly to our conductor, and probably you can ask a little off topic. For example, her experience studying in the one of the outstanding and prestigious university in the world, and you ask and Yale. Feel free. So come on, you can ask probably anything.
Or if you're too shy, you can also like type it down in the chat box.
Yeah.
I see
Sophia Ramadhani raise hand.
Sophie is raising.
Okay, Sophie, go ahead.
Okay, I want to ask because when we speak to the people, suddenly we used to get stuck and forget about our word, and we don't know what to do in it. So, what do you usually do when you get stuck in the middle of your word? So we don't look like, oh my god, I forgot my word, kayak gitu. Like that.
Oh, wow, that's a good question. Now I'm thinking about what did I do? I got stuck a lot of times, even during this conversation, and it's fine. And if you get stuck, give yourself some time and just think about what word you wanted to say. If it really didn't come out, then try to paraphrase the sentence so that it's easier for you. Or if you really need to find the word that you want to say, go and Google Translate. Just pull out your phone and find the word you want to say and then say it. And that happened a lot to me. Even until today, I was talking to my friend. I was like, I want to say that word, but I forgot. And I just pull out my phone and try to find Google Translate. And that's completely okay. They will understand because, again, English is not your first language. It could be your second or third language even. So it's totally fine. That's what I would usually do. Yeah.
Thank you so much.
No.
Thank you, Sophie. Let's move on to our next member. Anyone? Come on, guys.
Can I ask?
Okay,
Yeah.
Diana, go ahead.
What kind of culture shock that you experienced studying and living abroad?
Oh, wow. What kind of culture shock? This is kind of a good culture shock. Okay, before going to Canada, everyone was like, oh, Hannah, be careful because everyone is Islamophobic. Yeah, like you're wearing hijab. They're going to ask you to strip your hijab off and not wearing your hijab anymore. And people are very respectful. People didn't do that. People really respect my hijab and my choice of wearing this. They even ask questions to me like, hey, why are you wearing a hijab? What's the significance of this? And they're very welcoming and kind as well. So I think that was one of my culture shock, I might say. And also, I guess in the classrooms, back in Indonesia, when like teachers ask questions, right? Like we oftentimes always like being shy about what we want to ask. But then in the classroom in Canada, everyone was so ambitious. Like when the teacher was like, "Does anyone want to ask a question?" and everyone was like, "Yeah, I was gonna." Like to the point that we don't even have enough time to discuss every point and every questions that were raised in the class. So I think those two things were like the most significant culture shock, if I want to call it. And I mean, for sure, there are like things like toilet papers and whatnot, but I mean, those are like the menial stuff. But but the biggest and the huge culture shock was those two. Yeah.
Thank
Okay,
you.
thank you.
Thank you, Diana, for your questions, guys. Yeah, she's been living in a 4 seasons country and then like tropical countries. So it is a huge adjustment for you too, right, Hannah? Like weather-wise.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. They're also like winter and spring and fall. Yeah, that was also hard, but I kind of expected that, so it wasn't really a shock. So yeah.
Well, like snow is beautiful, right? Even though it's like freaking.
I hate it.
Really? Because probably initially people would like, "What, snow time, snowball, snow."
Yeah, I mean, the first time you saw it, the first time it was like snow falling and stuff. Like it was happy because everyone just like going to the court and like snow, and then we will do like a snowball fight kind of thing. But then like the next day, people are gonna step on it, right? So and you know snow is white, and the moment you step on it and your shoes are dirty, it gets disgusting, and it's very slippery. I slipped like 10 times. I don't know. I don't even count anymore, but. It wasn't nice. I don't miss it, honestly. It was fine, just for 2 years, that's it. So yeah.
Okay. Come on, guys. We still have plenty of time to have a Q&A session. Go for it if you would like to ask. If you have something in mind, you can type it on the chat box or...
I have something in mind I want to ask. Can I?
Okay, go ahead, Atif.
Hana talked about everything that is good or the good things in Canada. I want to know the bad experience that you got there, maybe that made you homesick or something like that.
Wow, there are really bad things. I'm thinking now, are there really bad things in there?
Let's say not the bad one, the challenges.
Like experience,
Oh, the challenging
one.
Yeah.
I think the challenge is to I rarely contact my family because of the time difference.
Yeah.
So I contact them like once a month, which is quite bad.
Only once a month?
Yeah, once a month.
Okay.
Because I was really busy as well during the day, so I couldn't really call them. And at night, I would want to go to bed. So that happened a lot. And I think it was hard when someone at home passed away. Yeah, sometimes I was just like didn't go to class for a week because it was hard to just go to class when your head is at home. And yeah, so that was the bad stuff, I guess. I really couldn't find like what's inherently bad in the community itself, because really I haven't had any bad experiences yet. So yeah.
So Hannah was having time active in Canada, so she couldn't recall what was the challenging, thing or bad things that were a couple of years ago. I'm sorry. So maybe.
I have something.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, maybe fasting was hard during Ramadan. I was spending my Ramadan and Eid there. That was really hard because I had to. I think what do you call it? Sahur. Sahur was at around 2 a.m. or something, 2 or 3 a.m. And then iftar was around 9 p.m. So that was horrible. It was so long. Yeah, so I basically only eat once a day. I didn't even wake up for sahur because it was 2 a.m. It was too early. I didn't want to do that. And aside from that, also like trying to keep up with the five times prayer a day, because their activities in Canada are not structured in a way that it suits Muslims, you know, because like in Indonesia, every time we have activities, they always have ishoma or whatever.
Oh, yeah.
And then, yeah, right, they always have like a prayer break, but we don't have that in Canada. So that was very hard to kind of like excuse yourself from a class, like, hey, I gotta go pray. So yeah.
Yeah. I think
Thank you.
another thing from this that how to find like the proper place to have a prayer, right? Like the proper place, because probably if your school probably have the facility, it's good, but if not, yeah.
You can pray everywhere, by the way.
Sorry, can you
Even in the
repeat that
park,
again?
right?
I mean, how to find like proper
Sorry,
place.
Miranda, raise hand.
All right. Thank you,
Okay,
Hana, for the
Miranda,
answer.
come on. You can ask now.
Hello everyone.
Hi.
Hi.
I have known Hana for about 2 years because I have been following her on Instagram since.
Ooh, you have a fans. This is like meet and greet session. Ooh.
Thanks for
Yeah.
coming. I know
It's
you.
really inspiring for me that you know me.
Okay.
Welcome.
Yeah. I think I texted you. You texted me. I texted you back. I think I don't remember.
Oh yeah. Yeah. I DM you last time. So
Yeah,
I
your
want
dream come true. Yeah, you met it here, like not face to face. Okay,
uh,
go ahead.
I want to ask Hana a little bit sensitive question. Is it okay?
Ooh,
Sure. I mean, I wouldn't guarantee if I can answer it, but sure.
No. We know that you go to UWC in Canada, right? In America.
Sorry, I
But
can't hear you.
why
Can you say that again?
I'm really
Sorry.
confused of why that you choose NUS. Okay. What is the reason that make you choose NUS over university in US or maybe Canada? I mean, like you have an experience in high school in Canada, right? But why
Right.
you choose NUS over those university? Thank you.
No worries. Okay, so technically, I'm not really choosing NUS because I'm also a part of Yale, so it's Yale and US. Okay, the reason why. So for Canada, for starters, the reason why I don't want to continue in Canada is because I want to try a different country, and I only applied to Canada, the States, and Singapore. And the reason why I applied to Singapore in the first place was because I was applying to Yale. And then they're like, which campus do you want to apply to? I ticked both boxes, the States and Singapore, and they basically placed me in Singapore. As for between the States or Singapore, I was consulting a lot to my academic advisor back at in Canada, and also like other adults who are living on campus, and they all told me to not go to the States. And they all said it's because, one, if I want to work in the States after graduation, it will be very hard to get a sponsor visa. It will be very hard to get a job in the first place. So I was like, okay, then what's the point of me going there and I wouldn't be able to get a job, at least for me. But I would get the experience because, you know, the States is an amazing place and you'll meet a lot of new people and you'll be able to travel a lot. Yeah, but then also it's because I met a lot of alumni from my school who went back to our school when I was still there, and they all said that, oh yeah, the States is horrible. And so they scared me out. Like literally everyone said that the States is a horrible place, la da da da. So I was a bit scared. And also the adults on campus said that, oh Hana, you're wearing hijab, and you know how big Islamophobia is in the States, and I'm really, really concerned for you. If it was only one person said that to me, maybe I would have gone to the States. Maybe I would have gone there and we'll be just fine. But the fact that every adult on campus said that really makes me a bit concerned. And also it's because in Singapore, I had a good deal because of the bond that I had with the Singaporean government. So after I graduated from college, I will be getting this employment pass without going through the sponsor visa looking thing and all of the complicated administrative stuff that I will be going through in the States. So that was the main reason. And it's also because Yale-NUS is sort of like a very close, tight-knit community. And I feel like I really want that out of a college instead of like a really huge college without community at all and you wouldn't know each other. So I really need that kind of community that's kind of similar to UWC, my previous high school, which was the reason why I chose Yale-NUS. Yeah.
Yeah, very, yeah. Disclaimer, yeah, she was accepted to Toronto and UBC, which was one of the top universities. So yeah, she could choose anywhere. Okay, who would like to ask another question? You can raise your hand.
Chandra already
Iki
raised
Chandra
hand.
is raising hand.
Okay.
Yeah,
Go ahead.
okay, thank you. Yeah, so Hannah, yeah, I would like to ask you about a question now that since you have mentioned about Canada. So yeah, we heard a lot about people talking about the US English, the American English and the British English. So what do you think about the English used by the Canadians? Do you find something similar to US, or do they have some, slight difference or something else like that? And from what I see or heard on the net, on TV, they also have some unique way of speaking, if I wasn't wrong. So what do you think about that, eh?
Yo, oh my God,
Accent.
that's amazing. Yeah, they're basically the same with Americans, the accents and stuff. They have like some words like that, the A at the end of every sentences, and some not continents, provinces like Newfoundland, for example, they have a certain vocabulary or slangs that couldn't be understood by other Canadians. So I think this is just a Newfoundland thing, if I'm not wrong. I remember my friend telling me about this. Yeah, but it's basically the same with American accents, with the exceptions of some provinces who have a certain slangs. So yeah.
All right. Thank you. Here, because I found that the A things, more like when people ask a question and making a statement, it sounds similar to me. What do you feel about that? A, is it a question or a statement?
Yeah. I don't know either. I think could be both. It depends on what's the context of the usage of the, yeah.
Okay, thank you, Kiki, for your question. So, now we have a question from chat box from Hairunisa. Hello, Hannah. I want to ask how to improve English skill, writing, reading, speaking, listening, especially for IELTS in limited time. Thank you. So, do you have any suggestion for upcoming IELTS test taker? How to get for both for aspects?
I see. I didn't take IELTS. I took TOEFL, but it's kind of similar. What I did back then was basically just doing a lot of practice tests. So, for example, for that day, I could do like 2 practice tests, 1 in the morning and 1 at night. And then maybe the next day I'd take a break, and the next day I'd do it again, but a different set of practice tests. So yeah, that's what I would usually do, because these things are very like textbook smart, like you don't have to be able to like have a conversational English skill. You don't have to be fluent in it. You can just study for grammars and stuff, and reading. There are techniques. I believe there are certain techniques to do IELTS and TOEFL, and for as long as you know what those techniques are, I think you'd be fine. But yeah, what I would do is to just do a lot of practice tests. I feel like that's the only way to ace your tests. So yeah.
Again, yeah, practice, yeah. Again, practice. Thank you, Hannah. Thank you, Hairunisa, for your question. Is there anyone else would like to ask? No one raised their hand. Or
Okay, myself, please.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
There is no one to ask a question. There is no one to ask question. No one answer.
Sorry. Why did you choose Canada? No. Sorry. When you were in Canada, how do you pray in mosque? Because as I know, there are so few mosques in Canada.
Yeah, so I didn't really choose Canada. So basically the way, again, it depends on different institutions, but the way the UWC schools are formed, or like the application process, is basically you chose your preferable schools. So there are 17 UWC schools around the world. There's one in Singapore, UK, America, Canada, and other places. So I was actually ranking Singapore as my first choice, and I didn't rank Canada at all. But then it was just like a preference choice. That doesn't mean that we're gonna go there. So at the end of it was the committee's choice on which country I'm gonna be sent to. And then when I found out that I got accepted, they decided to send me to Canada. So yeah, it's kind of a complicated process. So I didn't really choose Canada. But yeah, I don't know if that answers your question. And the next thing is about like whether I pray often in the mosque. I only prayed like twice in the mosque over my 2 years. The reason is because the mosque is quite far from my school, so I wouldn't be able to go back and forth, and took like 2 hours going, and back is just 2 hours as well, so it's like 4 hours back and forth. So it was way too long, and I had a lot of classes at a time, so that was the reason why I couldn't go to the mosque as often as I should be. So yeah.
Okay. Thank you, Hana.
Yeah, thank you, Dika, for your question. I think we are about to finish the class. So, Hana, before we end the session, do you have any suggestion? Okay, we have one more question, yeah, from Faiz. Hey, Hana, I want to ask about your favorite food in Canada and Singapore, and who is your favorite lecturer now? Why you like him or her?
Oh, wow. Oh, my favorite food in Canada is definitely poutine. I don't know if you've heard about poutine. It's amazing. It's basically a cheese with cheese fries, but it's just different with regular cheese fries. I don't know what they did with the poutine, but it was amazing. But Singapore, I think it will be mala. Mala is basically just noodles, but with like some very spicy sauce. Yeah, I don't know how to describe it, but you can look it up, and I'll just type it in the box if you don't know how to spell it. And who's my favorite lecturer? Wow, I have a lot. I love all of my professors. They're really nice and they're really kind people. And every time I had like problems that I couldn't solve, I can just easily email them, and they're like, "Hey, do you want to meet? When?" So they're very supportive. I really love all of them. I can't choose, but if I had to choose, I would choose Olivier Danby. He is my prof for Intro to CS class. So he was my first sort of exposure to computer science, and he's really, really amazing. He's really helpful. Every time I had questions, he always explains to like the basic stuff, and he always makes sure that I know things and I'm not rushing my thought process. So it would be him. Yeah, he's really sweet too. Yeah.
Okay, Faiz, thank you for your question. So do you have any suggestions or input for our members? First things about what the things that we need to prepare to if we would like to take our future studies abroad, for example, master or undergrads abroad. And then secondly, how to improve our English, like see it as a probably like your last statement or a suggestion or something. Do you have any input?
Sure. I think with the first one, what you should do to prepare to go abroad, I would say just be yourself. There's really nothing to prepare of, because even when I decided to apply to Canada, I wasn't really, purposefully preparing myself so that I would get accepted. No, just be yourself. And if I would say that pursue your passion, do whatever that makes you happy, but always do your best. Like never ever try to do something just for the sake of impressing people. You're not gonna get anything out of that. So just do whatever you like, do your best in it, and I'm sure people can see the passion in your eyes and they will love you. And just be yourself and keep on working, never give up. I failed many times. People never see it, but it's fine. And it's fine to fail, because if you never fail, then you never learn. So learn from your mistakes as well. Don't just like, okay, I failed zillion times and I never learned. Don't do that. You failed and you learn, and you improve from that failure. Yeah, so I think that's for the first one. For the second one, for English, just practice. There's really no other input aside from practicing, because if you never practice, then really all of the time that you're wasting or money you're wasting on, for example, if you take additional courses in different institutions, that would be nothing. Yeah, so just practice and you'll be fine.
So guys, that's a wrap. Give applause for our beloved conductors.
Ooh, thank you.
Yeah,
Thank
but
you.
I don't know, it's like mix of different. Yeah, like we got excited, we got more motivated, we got more, like the fire to learn more and to, not just English, but to pursue your passion, your dream, your career, your everything that you would like to accomplish in your future. So thank you so much, Hana, for your time, for your inspiration, for
Thank
your
you so much for inviting me. Thank you for coming as well, everyone. Thank you for spending your time.
Okay, guys. As I said, mentioned before, before we end the class, we would like to take a photo session, and that this will be led by Revina.
Yay. Okay. So guys, please turn on your camera and pose the base pose of you. Okay. Okay, so there are 2 slides. I'm going to screenshot the first slides. Just keep smiling. I don't know where slides are you in. 1, 2, 3. Okay, I'm going to the next slide. 1, 2, 3. All right, I'm done. Thank you for joining our
Thank you so
session,
much, Gay, for
guys.
coming.
Thank you, Hana.
Thank
you, Hana.
Thank you so much.
Thank you, Hana. Thank you guys for joining our class.
Really amazing.
You're really amazing.
Yeah, hope you're willing to share with us again in our next future.
Yeah, definitely. Feel free to drop me a message on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter,
We
whatever.
will. No worries. We will.
Check your Instagram.
Thank you so much,
So
guys.
I already follow
I'll write
you.
it down.
Using Twitter?
This is my Twitter. I'll put it in the chat box. And this is my Facebook. I replied really quickly on Facebook, not so much on Twitter and Instagram. So drop me a message on Facebook instead. So.
Okay.
Okay, guys, thank you so much for coming. We hope
Thank you.
take some good stuff from here and you can apply it in your daily life. So, and see you in our upcoming classes. Thank you, guys.
Thank you, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, everyone.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you, everyone.
Sorry. We are gonna have some evaluation here only for the committees. So
Do
for
you
the
need me to be here?
participants, yeah.
Yes, Hana.
For the participants, please leave this room. Yeah. Thank you.
Thank you, guys. And then the facilitator too, ya.
Yeah, facilitator.
Thank you, guys, for
Thank you guys for
Before
coming.
I leave, can I tell you something? But I
Yeah.
need but I
Abim.
think that Dika, I think you can remove the non-committee. Yeah.